Welcome to September's question and answer period. Excited that you're joining us again tonight. We're always happy to have all the questions sent in. And so we know that this sometimes can get really lengthy, especially as we're working through a lot of the questions. I just want to kind of set the background and parameters for tonight. We're not going to be diagnosing and prescribing. We're going to be giving you educational information on the situations and questions that you have posed. So with that understanding, let's go ahead and get started. Our first question comes to us from Kelly. Can a person get rid of celiacs? This is an excellent question, and there are a lot of people that are now experiencing this challenge in their life. But before we talk about getting rid of it, let's just kind of roll back and talk about what happened to get us to that situation. You just didn't wake up one morning and all of a sudden, just voila, there was celiacs. This is a process that happens over a period of time, a process that actually starts with poor gut flora, which is really kind of one of those challenges that we see in our Western diet, because so many things are so heavy laden with antibiotics and with other kinds of preservatives and pesticides and all these toxins. We wind up seeing that our intestinal flora is compromised. Along with that, we have a challenge. I just felt it. Just hold it. Let's just start over. Okay, that's live. Okay. All right, the microphone fell down. All right, so what I was talking about, over the process of time, we've got this situation going on where we've really destroyed the gut flora, and because our food here in America is so emaciated, I mean, it's mutilated and munched and crunched and just really, really a super challenge. The fiber has been taken out, so by the time they get down to the low fat and the low this and the low that, we wind up having very small amounts of fiber. And because of that, we wind up getting into a position where we're not digesting. We're now starting to have problems with our flora and everything. And the next thing that we wind up seeing is that because of this change, we start seeing mutation of the bacteria and of the fungus within the digestive tract, and we wind up getting what's called leaky gut syndrome, and we start getting undigested proteins going into the interstitium, and then voila, guess what? We start seeing celiacs, and we start becoming sensitive to this, or we start becoming sensitive to that, and pretty soon we get this whole perfect storm that has been brewing over the process of multiple years, and the next thing we know, we've got this challenge. And so one of the things that we're excited about is our U program, because literally we have the booster packs with the pre and the probiotics. We have the greens, which is excellent for you, as well as the fiber, this insoluble and soluble fiber that you have the opportunity to work with. Gives you the most amazing things that the body needs to help start that repair process. Because what we want to do is keep our body in a position that we don't have to go back and start to repair it. So I would definitely look at the U program, because all the things we discussed are within that program. Of course, you can always add essential oils to help with some of the bad bacteria. A lot of research, tea tree, rosemary, Ravensara, Defense, Spice 4 Life. These are all oils that have tons of research showing that they work really well on working against some of those bad bacteria that have more. So Kelly, good question. All right, our next question looks like it's addressed to both Ori and I, and let's see what we can come up with. Thank you so much for answering my email on Friday, live call. I greatly appreciate it, and Ruth was so happy to hear your reply, which has given her hope that there is something that she can do to start getting her body back on track. Ori, sorry we couldn't reply on the live chat. Thursday's call was, we were listening and had a few connection streaming issues and couldn't send the reply via chat. You ask if Ruth's allergies started after antibiotics. No, they started in early childhood, but did worsen after the antibiotics. Ruth also has not tried the Innocence line, but is taking a look at the products that she may be able to use after she starts on the liver cleanse. Thank you so much for your time and suggestions. You have been a great help. I enjoy listening to you in the videos. I'm looking forward to learning more from the virtual office and trainings that you have made accessible for us. It's wonderful. I am looking forward to listening to your next call. Kind regards, Naomi. Thank you, Naomi. We really appreciate it. It's a lot of hard work, but we really appreciate the feedback because we really care about you all out there. And so this is fun for us to get that positive feedback. Okay, our next one. My husband has a lump on his neck, a little smaller than a ping pong ball, directly below his jaw that he has found hiding behind his beard about 3 weeks ago. It is not tender or painful to the touch. He went to the doctor, and of course they put him on antibiotics, of course. He took a full course of them with no change to the lump. No surprise. That's cute. Doctors think he may be doing something to do a aspiration biopsy in a couple of weeks. A Zytoscan calls for Copaiba. Any other suggestions? You know, it's kind of interesting when you stop and you look at the situation. I mean, this is like a big shooting in the dark kind of situation. You know, is the lump hard? Is it movable? Is it mushy? Is it painful? Is it weeping? Just kind of a lot of questions like that we look at. But I'm just going to throw out a couple ideas. Sometimes, especially with beards and facial hair, sometimes we wind up getting a plugged sebaceous gland, and so we wind up with what's called a sebaceous cyst. That can turn into a very oozy thing, but sometimes it can also go in, if it's deep enough, and go into a very hard lump under the skin and create a real challenge for you. So that's something you kind of look at as far as that situation. Normally, this is a sebaceous cyst. You could look at the possibility of an elevated white blood cell count when you go to the doctor, because there will be a little bit of bacteria involvement going on there, and your immune system will be perking up on that. The other thing that you might consider there is one of the things, you know, there are several different lymphatic drainage areas in the face, and sometimes if we get a plugged lymphatic drainage and we get that in a certain area, you can actually, that's where you get more of a mushy kind of a lump that will harden over time as the body tries to recapture that fluid, the proteins, what we call trapped blood proteins, and we can kind of see some challenge there. So personally, what I would do is I'd actually be using several different things. You know, I would be using some oils like bay laurel, cypress, even peppermint, warm compress. I think you'd find a lot of good results in that. You know, a lot of times we take a look at that and you know, we use the frankincense or L-form to kind of decide whether or not if they shrink or grow. It kind of gives us an idea of which direction we're going. A lot of times frankincense will help with different kinds of fatty tumors or tumors that are more associated to rogue cells in the body. And so just a couple of things that you'd really kind of want to take a look at and work with. Second question you have there, a customer who has never smoked, is a very healthy whole food eater, was just diagnosed with lung cancer. Would diffusing L-form and frankincense close to her face be something you might recommend? Yeah, absolutely. You know, remember, when we're dealing with essential oils, we want to get the essential oils to the location as quickly as possible. And that would be very important for you to look at. How are we going to get it to the lungs as quickly as possible? And guys, I tell you what, we don't talk enough about aromatherapy. And there's some new things that we're working at to introduce to you. along that line of aromatherapy. And aromatherapy, guys, don't discount it. Very, very powerful, very amazing when it comes to getting that oil to the lungs, especially to that location as quickly as possible. And I would absolutely, yes, do that because they have great indications for helping with that kind of a challenge. The next question, that's it? Oh, I thought we had one more there. Okay, good. All right, next question. Thanks, Sandy, for that. That was good. Mikey has some good questions here. Looks like she has multiple. Okay, so here we go. I bought a product called VitaPulse from Princeton Nutrition with this in it. 250 milligrams of NAC, so I'm assuming that's niacin, 100 milligrams of CoQ10, 100 milligrams of PQQ. Would one a day be okay to take with Be Young essential oils and other products? I have never heard of PQQ. You're gonna learn about that next year. We don't have time to go into it today, but that is something that you'll learn a little bit about. I think the other two would be okay. I take Masagi, Smart Heart 2 times a day, NutriSmart 9 capsules a day, Liver Cleanse 1 shake a day, and I use about 8 to 10 essential oils. If you think I should take it, if you think I shouldn't take it, I'll send it back unopened. All right. Well, once again, you know, when you look at that information, niacin and CoQ10 and PQQ, you know, you look at that face value and go, well, none of those things are really bad. The thing that you have to look at is the ingredients. Where are they deriving these from? Are they deriving them from the lab? If so, you will know real quick because there will be a very short ingredients list. It was kind of interesting the other day. I was working with a couple and they literally brought me another product similar to this, and they says, what do you think? And I said, great. What's the ingredients? And there was like 2 ingredients. And so you know the rest came from the lab. Or he had a little bit he wanted to interject on this.
NAC is acetylcysteine, and I may not be pronouncing that exactly correct, but basically the only way to derive that is synthetically. A lot of them will get it. It's actually interesting. A lot of them will derive it from duck feather is the starting substance.
You can get down with that.
So that's the starting substance, and then it continues on and through the synthetic process into the NAC. So chances are if they have NAC, it's a synthetic derivative of acetylcysteine.
That's kind of what I thought. Once again, guys, look at the ingredients list. You know, you got the nutrient profile, and that's what we see here. Yeah, look at the ingredients list, and it'll tell you real quick.
Just one more thing to note on the CoQ10. It's got a lot of media, I guess, in the last couple of years, because CoQ10 is one of the primary antioxidant. It's actually an enzyme. It's not just a molecule. It's an enzyme that helps to convert free radicals into more safe species. But the problem with CoQ10 is they have not been able to find a very good delivery system. They recently have, and it's actually the reduced form of CoQ10 called ubiquinol instead of ubiquinone. But ubiquinol, it only can be absorbed and uptaked if it is encased with a digestive protectant. So once it hits the stomach lining, if it is not encased, what ends up happening is it breaks down the CoQ10, and then you actually get really no absorption. And so, but a lot of companies are adding CoQ10 because it's a big hype right now. Yep. But the problem is if they're not doing it through the right methods, if they're not having it encased, and if it's not the reduced form, then it's not getting past the stomach.
Good information. Guys, you might notice there that Ori has a pretty good handle on this. There's some new things in the wind. That's all I'm going to say. So just hang on. It'll be coming. So number 2, I want to start getting off the Zoloft. I will ask my doctor to give me a prescription for 50 milligram tablets so I can half them. I am taking 150 daily now. My thoughts are to lower the milligrams by 25 milligrams every 2 months. I have been using them 19 years, and I know it'll be hard to get off them. But I think a year to get off of them should be sufficient. What oils do I use to help get off from them? What do you think about this plan? Well, you know, once again, Mikey, when you start looking at this, 19 years on Zoloft, that is a long time, and the body has now become quite dependent on that. And as you start reducing that, you're very wise in going and talking with your doctor. Share with him your plan. I know if you have the right doctor, he would want to get you to the lowest amount of pharmaceuticals as possible to maintain the control that you need. Some of the essential oils that work well with depression and anxiety, very well documented. Frankincense is probably the leading one out there. It's absolutely kind of amazing, the research that actually is there for that essential oil. And again, you know, you might ask, well, how much would I take as I'm doing this? It's very individualistic to you and your body. So you want to take a look at that, and some days you might have a 1-drop day, and some days you might have a 10-drop day. Again, normal application site for something like that is just basically the same way you're going to use your Zoloft. And that's, you know, you got to get it into that system so it can be uptake and move through the bloodstream and into the body and into the brain to help with the process. Because when you look at it, your Zoloft is a serotonin uptake inhibitor. And, you know, that's kind of a challenge. And so we've got to get the gut to take care, to build the serotonin, transport to the brain. Frankincense, according to the research, seems to help in that area. So definitely work with your doctor. A year time to come down to 25 milligrams or off from it completely is a good lengthy time to do that. And work with him, work with essential oils, keep your diet clean, and keep us posted. All right, next question. Hi folks, I have been waiting to leave a quick comment on the caps. I read the Kaleidoscope information on the why and can see that perspective. Another perspective is that the arthritic hands much more difficult. And for me, I often have extra around, and it helps me to see the seal and know which bottle to work from, as opposed to mistakenly grabbing and opening an open one. I realized that that's an adjustment, and I have to personally trying to be more careful as to where they are placed, but they are not my favorite lids for sure. Okay, on the challenge that we have is that you know, we as a company literally have to make decisions that are in the best interests of the company, of the distributor, and of the customer. And sometimes we need to move into an area that, not as friendly. For example, these caps. And we do that to keep people safe and to keep them moving forward. And so the caps are an issue. But what we're seeing in the media is this. A lot of attention has been given to the increased amount of childhood trips to the emergency room, the amount of calls to poison control, because now there are more product in more homes, and lids easily opened, and it makes it a real challenge because now kids are naturally curious and they migrate to those small bottles and whatnot. And so we get those opened up very easily. Ingestion is not such a worry. It can be, but it's not such that large worry. Here is my biggest concern. My biggest concern is if they get it in their eyes. There are certain essential oils, if they were actually accidentally put directly into the eye, could cause permanent damage to the cornea. And this is something that I don't think you out there, I know I and the rest of the staff here don't want to have to see someone lose their eyesight for the rest of their life when they're just a little bitty toddler, because we were not taking the responsible action of making sure that our products are safe. And so I hope that helps you understand why we move into these directions and why we try to keep everyone safe on all areas.
All right, next question. This is from Grace Ferguson. Dr. Moore, MD, received by a board certified physician. Mountain cedar is a type of juniper tree found mainly in South and Central Texas that pollinates in the winter from December through March. Pollen can travel up to 400 miles with strong winds. Winter of 2016 in southwest Missouri, there were winds of 40 plus miles an hour consistently for 2 months. Never having issues with this, it hit many people hard. Would there be a precaution of using essential oil of cedar and juniper oils? I think that's the first question. Let me go ahead and read the next so we have it all in perspective. Chamomile, a member of ragweed family. Allergy tested with scratch test on back. Family member has an allergy. 2 types of ragweed listed on allergy testing results form. Is it okay to use either type of chamomile essential oil if you have allergies to ragweed? So first question, I'm not really for sure what the preface up the top was, where it talked about the mountain cedar and the pollen. But I guess the first question is there a caution to using cedar wood, I'm assuming, and juniper oil?
Well, anytime you have allergies, guys, and Nori, thank you for reading the question for me. It's a little hard for me to see through these lights. You know, anytime you have allergies, the system is upset, and there's a histamine reaction in the body, and so you have the potential to be allergic to the entire family. So regardless whether it's an essential oil or whether it's this or whether it's that, you have that potential. With that being said, typically we don't see a reaction to the essential oil because it's usually an enzyme that's in the herb itself or the plant itself that is causing the allergy, not so much the different amino acids that you find within the essential oil. And so typically we don't see that, but sometimes it has crossed over and we see a sensitivity, not a full-blown allergy, but a sensitivity to that. So my thought on this was be cautious. If you have the allergies to those things, to the pollen, because your pollen is going to be totally different than the essential oil. Yes, it's from the same plant, but it's a totally different form. As I said, it's in more of an enzyme type action instead of an amino acid. And so it's going to be a little bit different. So if you're concerned, do a patch test on the bottom of your feet. Just one little tiny micro drop on the bottom of your feet. See if you have any kind of reaction. Or just smell it. See if you have any kind of reaction. Do it where you're close to a doctor. Don't go up in the mountain somewhere and do it, because if you do have a reaction, you want to be able to get some assistance with that. You're going to look for itching, redness, hives, shortness of breath. Those are some of the typical signs. But typically we don't see the reaction cross into essential oils because they are a different compound makeup than what is actually causing the allergy from the same plants. All
right, next question. Dana, I am a distributor My husband had colon surgery, removed 10 centimeters, 4 centimeter mass, and a small spot on a biopsy in the middle of the rectal colon. They found an aggressive CT scan, blood CA, and US were negative before surgery. The doctor wants to go back in to remove the rest of the rectal colon to remove any possible cancer cells in the area and biopsy to see what's there and where, etc. He'll have an, I'm not sure, ileoscopy, something like that, for 6 to 8 weeks while the rectal area heals, and once healed, reverse the ostomy. Another major surgery. What pages do you want to turn to in your book or other suggestions? Maybe this was addressed on a previous Thursday night. Let me know or send me a tape of the talk.
Okay, Mary, this is a really big question. It involves quite a bit, and again, we're getting into an area where we're more in working with fighting disease. And so let's just kind of work this around. We've got into a situation here where we've got some positive results and aggressive results for some form of rectal cancer. And they're moving forward, and they removed that area, and now they want to go back and remove more of the area. You know, sometimes when we get down the road far enough with a situation, because the health has been declining and we didn't even recognize it or understand it, so we were not in the prevention mode, we just kind of allowed it to happen, and now we're in a place where, oh gee, what do we do? It makes it very difficult not only for the medical professional but for the alternative person. And so what can we do to help with this? I would allow the doctors to continue the process that they're doing, because if it's really aggressive, which they have found, and they don't do their work, time's not on our side. And when time is not on our side, we can lose the battle. And so we want to make sure that we get time on our side, allow them to do what they need to do, but doggone, there's a lot of things that we can do to help with that. We want to make sure that we don't wind up with adhesions. One of the challenges you have with these kind of surgeries is adhesions that can actually cause a complete occlusion of the colon, and now we're in really bad problems. And so, you know, some of the things that I love using for any kind of surgery, regardless whether it's external or internal, is lavender. Lavender is phenomenal to help with the formation of adhesions. So that's one of the first things we want to do. And again, with all the research that's out there on you know, frankincense and myrrh, in regards to how well it attacks certain forms of cancers, specifically colon cancers, it's another oil that would be very excellent to be using along with this. So we know with the research from Ohio State University and other universities from France and Turkey and Australia, lavender, frankincense, myrrh, those three oils combination are very, copaiba, caruva, very powerful in seeking out and destroying cells according to the research. And so those are oils that I would personally use. Again, I'd want to get them to location as quickly as possible. And so, you know, there's a lot, you know, you can look at the French medical way, or you can even look at the English massage and touch and do a compress topically over the colon area. And so those are kind of some of the things that I would look at. Definitely, you know, you're going to have a great amount of free radicals going on with all this anesthesia and everything that's happening. And so massaging would absolutely be something that I would use on a very regular basis, on a daily basis, even a couple times a day, to keep that high level of free radicals from creating more challenges and spreading it through the entire body. You know, L-Form, another good oil, a blend that would work well as things are being morphed and mutated. So those are the ones that I'd be using, but guys, look at the diet, make sure the fiber's up there, get the antioxidants going. The U program with the digestive enzymes would be excellent also. Just good nutrition.
The past few months, I thought my eyes were tired as I was having double and blurred vision when driving. A couple days ago, I went to the eye doctor, and he told me I had cataracts. That was not there on my last annual visit. Seems to be coming on quickly. I couldn't even read the top line on the eye chart. Obviously, this is not good. I am not great with someone messing with my eyes, but would much rather do drops than any type of surgery. My question is about dilutions. Although I'm concerned about the mixture burning in my eyes, I know you've done this 100 times, and I'm sure I'm just being paranoid. I started putting the frankincense and eye vision under my eyes and on my temples every couple hours. I alternate that with bay laurel to keep the fluid moving out. I am going to be diluting tea tree and lavender oil, not together, with a carrier to actually drop in my eyes. My right eye is much worse than my left. Will I be able to use the oils in both eyes? I am sure I can, but just want to get an expert opinion. Please explain how I dilute the oils, 75%, 80%, etc.
Yeah, you've probably heard over the years that I have used oils in my eyes for different things. And I tell you what, you need to be very careful with the frankincense and the eye vision under the eye and temples. Very good, spot on. The only thing that I would add to that personally would be clary sage. Clary sage, its folklore name is called bright eyes, and it literally has some compounds in there that research has been looking at to show how it works in the reduction of cataracts. Now, there's some real positive research on that, and then there's some kind of vague, a B, what they call B. It's showing promise, but they need more research to say it's an A research. So clary sage, frankincense, eye vision under the eyes, you can go there really easily. When you start taking and diluting the oils and put them inside the eye, now you've got to really be very cautious. It's more than a 90% dilution, because you're dealing with some very tender tissue. And if you don't have it diluted, now I have put lavender undiluted in my eyes. I did it once. Guarantee you, you don't want to do it a second time. I wanted to pluck my eye out, put it on the floor, and stomp on it, because it would actually feel better if I had done that. So the way I do dilutions when I'm working with my eyes or someone in my family is I'll take one drop. That's a single drop, not multiple, a single drop in a teaspoon of carrier. And then one drop of that I would add to my eye, or sometimes I just take and just dab my finger in it and put it in the corner of my eye like this, so it just gets a trace in there. Much more than that, the sensation is not comfortable. Might I add, you'll roll around on the floor and flip-flop like a fish out of water. But remember, if you do accidentally get too much in your eye, use a carrier to stop that. Be very cautious when you do that. Work on your diet. Work on your diet. You've got a lot of challenges going on, free radical buildup, so your Massagey, the new U program with the digestive enzymes for the gut make huge sense for the eyes. So take a look at those items and keep me posted. Okay, I want to go back and clarify one thing real quick here. When I was talking about the allergy, I talked about the amino acid. I meant to say liptic acid. The liptic acid is in the amino acid chain, but it's a much, much smaller molecule. And so a liptic acid is what essential oils are versus the enzymes we were talking about in the pollen that cause the allergies. So I just want to clarify that real quick. Appreciate that, Ori. All right, guys, thanks for being with us, and some great questions, and we'll see you on the next call. That stupid thing has never...